Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a huge AFC West rivalry matchup. But here's the thing. For a minute, let's forget the team names, forget the logos, forget home field advantage. We are going deep into the advanced analytics to see what the numbers are really predicting for the Chiefs versus the Broncos. And let me tell you, the forecast is, well, it's pretty surprising.
All right, let's jump right in. Now, when you hear Chiefs at home, your gut probably tells you one thing, right? But what happens when we strip away all that noise and just look at the cold, hard data? Who does the analytical model actually say is the favorite in this massive showdown?
And there you have it. The models are pointing pretty clearly to a decisive, data-backed victory for the Denver Broncos on the road. Yeah, it's a bold prediction that kind of goes against what a lot of people might think. So let's unpack exactly how the data builds this surprising case.
So you're probably asking, how on earth do the numbers lead to this conclusion, especially against a team like the Chiefs? Well, the answer really starts when you look at the bigger picture, the story of each team's season so far.
You've got two teams heading in completely opposite directions. On one side, you have the Denver Broncos, sitting pretty at 12-2, and they are fighting for that coveted #1 seed in the conference. Then you look over at the Kansas City Chiefs, who at 6-8 are officially mathematically out of the playoff race.
And this right here highlights a huge difference in motivation, which is a key factor that you just can't ignore. For the Broncos, this game is absolutely critical for their playoff positioning. For the Chiefs, their main goal is to just play spoiler and ruin the day for a division rival. That gap in motivation is absolutely massive. Okay, now for the fun part, the real core of the argument, the advanced metrics. This is where the numbers start to tell a story that's impossible to ignore. First, we got to get our heads around one key metric, defensive DVOA. Just think of it as a defense's true efficiency rating. It adjusts for every single situation, down, distance, you name it. And the most important thing to remember with DVOA is this: negative numbers are very, very good.
And this number right here really shows you Denver's dominance. Their defensive DVOA is a stellar -14%, which puts them in the top 5 of the entire league. So analytically speaking, this isn't just a good defense. We're talking about an elite game-wrecking unit.
So what really goes into that elite DVOA number? Let's break down the different pieces that make this Denver defense probably the single biggest factor in this entire matchup.
I mean, just look at these numbers. They're overwhelming. Denver's defense is #1 in the league at getting after the quarterback. They're #2 against the run, and maybe most importantly, they are #1 in red zone defense, which is where games are so often won and lost. They are flat out dominant on every level.
And when you put the key metrics side by side, the advantage for the Broncos on defense just becomes undeniable. I mean, look at total pressures. Denver leads the league, while Kansas City is way down at 21st. The Broncos are better against the run, and they allow much lower success rate to opposing offenses. It really is a mismatch across the board. So now let's flip it and look at the other side of the ball. With the defense that dominant, you start looking for vulnerabilities it can exploit. And the data shows the Chiefs' offense is showing some pretty significant signs of weakness right now.
Even a player as incredible as Patrick Mahomes has shown a really noticeable downward trend in his performance lately. I mean, these passer ratings are incredibly low for a player of his caliber, and it signals a bigger problem with the offense, a problem that Denver's defense is perfectly built to attack.
And to make matters worse for them, you have the likely absence of running back Isaiah Pacheco. He's not just their main rusher, his superpower is creating yards after contact. That's the engine of their run game. Without him, the Chiefs' offense becomes way more predictable and one-dimensional, especially against the league's #2 rush defense.
So all of this creates a massive mismatch in how these teams are going to have to approach the game. Denver can just stick to its game plan, a controlled, methodical offense. The Chiefs, on the other hand, are likely going to be forced into a one-dimensional passing game, which plays right into the hands of Denver's league-leading pass rush.
And this chart shows Denver's counter strategy perfectly. Their quarterback, Bo Nix, plays a low-risk, quick passing game. His average depth of target is one of the lowest in the league, and that's by design. The whole offense is built to get the ball out of his hands fast, to neutralize an aggressive pass rush and control the clock.
All right, so let's put all of these pieces together. Let's synthesize this for the final analysis and see how the data actually projects this game is going to play out on the field.
The game flow model predicts this is going to be a drag-out physical fight. It all starts with the Denver defense just shutting down the run. That forces Kansas City to have to pass the ball. And that allows Denver's monster pass rush to disrupt Mahomes, all while Denver's own offense controls the clock. The result? A low-scoring game that Denver dictates from start to finish.
So the final projection is a pretty low-scoring game, 20-13, with Denver's defense being the ultimate difference maker. This is a game that's going to be won in the trenches, and that's exactly where Denver holds every single statistical advantage.
So what are the big takeaways from all this? Well, the data really points to two strong conclusions. First, the under on total points looks very good.
Denver's #1 red zone defense just doesn't give up touchdowns. And second, take Denver to cover the spread. The mix of their defensive dominance and KC's offensive issues creates a really clear analytical edge. So at the end of the day, the final question is this: will the overwhelming weight of all this data actually hold up against the sheer unpredictability of game day? The numbers tell one very clear story, but, the game is played on the field. It's that classic battle, analytics versus reality, and we're all going to be watching to see which one wins out.